Okay guys, welcome back to the final part of my 20 questions for 2,000 subscribers video. Let's go straight to it. Next one. Where do you take the tips and tactics from? Have you read books about tactics or something? Or do you just observe and then make a strategy all on your own? Well, I think it all comes from various little things. It's kind of built up experience. I've been playing games for a long time, and in doing so you learn things as you go that you carry on to the next one. Even as far back as like the early games that I played, there's still a kind of strategy and tactic involved in a lot of what you do there. But again, I'm sorry, but I have to reference World of Warcraft. I played it for a long time, and there's a lot of tactics in that which transfer easily over to FPS. You wouldn't think it, but there are. There's a lot of things in World of Warcraft which are to do with pushing in terms of controlling bases. There's a couple of different games for PvP in World of Warcraft, like Alterac Valley, Arathi Basin, and Warsong Gulch, and they all have a slightly different dynamic, but those dynamics transfer very well over because it's all about crowd control, watching people flanking around you, controlling things, and so on and so on. And there's a certain level of predictable behavior that people operate when they're playing games, and it can often, this predictability is what really is the key to your success. You should be predicting. Then again, I've been playing FPS for a long time, and again, you just learn a lot, so it's more kind of just built up experience. But the thing is, to come up with these tactics and tips and all these kind of things, it's not that difficult. It really, FPS, a lot of the time it's common sense. It's often just literally a case of observing what's happening in the game, understanding it, and then making a kind of counterpoint to that. Things like, for example, okay, let's just take an example, rush and planting bases. Now, so many times I've seen people planting MCOM bases, and 4, 5, 6 guys will run into a small room, try to plant the bomb, and then stay in that room. This is unbelievably stupid, because all that's going to happen, and as I say, this is just a logical thing. So if you just imagine, just take a second to think what is going to happen, okay? So you just break it down. You've got 6 people sitting in a room. That means they have no opposition to coming up to where you are, right? So the enemy are just going to move up. They're going to come to those doors and the room that you're in. They know that you're in there. They'll throw grenades in, they'll fire rockets in, they'll fire, M320s and smoke in, okay? That alone will probably take out a minimum of probably half your guys, and then because there's no opposition, they will just rush in, spray, destroy you all, and defuse the bomb, okay? A much better tactic is obviously not to do that. What you do is you plant the bomb, have maybe 2 guys stay in there as backup, and then everybody else stays outside. And what they are doing is controlling, stopping people from getting to there. That's what you want to do. And as I say, there's no mystical, magic, high-tech, advanced tactic here. It's basic gameplay. And my fundamental thing is, if you get the basics right, that's all you need. Seriously, you get the basics right, and everything else will just fall into place. And a lot of people I see on YouTube saying, we want some advanced tactics, we want some of this, we want some of that. There are no advanced tactics. There's not some magic rule which means that suddenly you're going to play 50% better than everyone else on the map, okay? Those people are playing well because they've got the basics down to a fine art, okay? That means they look at their targets, they know where people are going, they hit their targets, they communicate well with their team. These things are what's going to happen. It comes back to the objective, momentum, flexibility thing. You understand the core foundation of the game, and that will give you much better gameplay than anything else, anything than some smart little tip, okay? So when people are saying as well, we want some advanced tactics and so on, if you're at the stage where you need advanced tactics, in my opinion, if you're at the stage where you think you need these kind of advanced tactics, whatever that is, if you think you're at that stage, then you should be coming up with them yourself. If you've got the level of experience where you think you're done with everything else and therefore you need this kind of specialist level of instruction, well, you should have enough basic knowledge there to be able to come up with your own things, not ask other people for them. So yeah, there's nothing special about where I come up with my things from, and the thing is, people disagree with what I say as well, so it's not the be all and end all. There's plenty of guys out there that know less or more than me, so all I try to do is just put forward the things that I think, the things that I've experienced, and to be honest, what makes sense to me, and yeah, that's all there is to it really. It's pretty straightforward, and there's no definitive way about learning about these things. It's just a process of, you know, observing, considering, thinking, using your brain, and just coming up with tactics and strategies. And, you know, watching your gameplay back as much as anything else. Watching gameplay back is hugely useful because it allows you to see mistakes that you've made and, you know, then analyze that. Often, this is the thing that I say in my gameplay. I don't often cut my I don't have to cut my footage down very much because I want people to see the deaths as well as the success, because it's important to be able to see that in order to understand the context in which you're doing stuff. I have seen many FPS players who only put up the best stuff of their footage, and a lot of people will argue that, you know, people only want to see the best stuff. However, that isn't the way that I think about it. I think it's more interesting to see stuff within an entire context. So if you take just selections of your best kills or your best little multi-kills and stuff like that, it gives an inaccurate representation of how the game plays, and then it makes everyone else think that that's what they should be achieving all the time, and it also makes them think that that's what they should see in YouTube videos all the time, and it's not. It's an inaccurate representation, because everyone has bad days in FPS games. Everyone has games where you're going to get absolutely thrashed into the ground. And I'll tell you right now, okay, having been involved with Pixel Enemy and stuff like that for a little while now, I speak to a few guys on Skype who are quite high in their game. I'm not going to mention which specific producers they are, but they have spoken to me and told me that, you know, they have just as much bad experiences as everybody else. They'll have games where they go massively negative or whatever, and again, if you look at people's stats on Battlelog, you'll see that often these top playing people, you know, their KDs and their win-loss and all these kind of things, they're not massively different than, you know, any normal average player. It's just that when people are on YouTube, they will cut and pick the best stuff, and it gives an overall, you know, impression of that kind of thing. So yeah, that's not what I try to do with my stuff. And yeah, bringing it back again to the tactics and the strategy, from reviewing those things, I feel that you learn more from it, and then that's what you can use to build on to create your own strategies. Okay, second to last question now. What do you think is the worst part of online gaming? This is kind of a tricky one because there are many things that are bad about online gaming. I mean, there's so many things that can affect you negatively in terms of people trolling you, or, you know, people abusing the game, people who just don't know which end of the gun they fire from, you know, those kind of things are bad as well. It's hard to be hard on other people because, you know, at the end of the day, everyone's trying to play, have a good time, and so you don't want to say, okay, the people that are bad at the game are the thing that make online play hard. However, if you're playing a multiplayer game online, okay, if you're playing some kind of FPS game or, you know, strategy game online, and there are people who don't even have a basic understanding of the game. So I'm not talking about people who are just having a bad round. I'm talking about people who haven't bothered to practice any kind of the basic elements of the game at all. I think that is the worst part of online gaming. And it's not to say that these people shouldn't play online, okay, because I try to be quite kind of considerate about everyone, and so everyone's trying to, you know, have a fun time and everything else. But the thing is, if you're trying to have a successful game, you're trying to win as a team, and someone is sitting around in the base, or they refuse to move, or they never help the team, or all these kind of things, then it does just have a negative impact on the overall experience of your game, and that is unbelievably frustrating. And it's something that's been around in the whole time that I've been playing games, through the whole of WoW up to now, and pretty much, yeah, any multiplayer experience I've had, okay? Should those people not play? I don't think it's anybody's right to say that, okay? Everyone can play and do what they want, okay? But it has a negative impact on gaming. It is the worst part of online game for me, having to carry these people on the team which are basically dead weight. Makes your experience worse, it makes you play worse, it's frustrating, it's irritating, and, you know, I think the game developers could do a lot more to actually help people have some kind of basic understanding before they enter online multiplayer gameplay, like some kind of small tutorial system or something like that, to say, this is multiplayer, this is how it differs, this is what you should do. People should have some kind of basic understanding, but it's, you know, it's a double-edged sword. You know, there's so much that's good about online gameplay as well, and there's so much that's bad about it, and at the end of the day, you know, you have to take it as it comes. Final question now. What do you think have been the positive effects of video games on society and or individuals? This is a massive question, and it's not something that I can really answer in 5 minutes on a YouTube video. I could do a whole video about it, but it would take a little bit of research and time. That's the other thing. I haven't researched this enough to be able to give a massively accurate reply here. So just thinking for myself, games are a whole section of our media. Okay, they give developers and artists and writers all sorts of things. It encompasses a huge area of development process. Okay, games are an art form. They always have been an art form because they're a visual thing. Okay, they're something that people love they get frustrated about, they get obsessed with characters over. Gaming gives so much to so many people. It allows people to explore and imagine things that they never would have imagined before. It allows them to share experiences with others, to have fun with others, to get frustrated, angry. It gives you a full spectrum of human feelings through gaming. I also think that gaming, it's such a great thing because it's such a niche thing, or it has been. It's starting to expand a lot more now. I don't think that's a bad thing, incidentally. But yeah, gaming gives so much, and there's so many people who don't understand gaming still. And it's because it's been tarred with a brush of kind of, nerdy, darkened room social exclusion and things like that. But the truth is that people that play computer games are no different than any other people. It just means that, this happens to be their hobby. And I always think of many games just like a book. Games are like a book, but a book that you interact with and play more. Or, it could be a movie. In fact, actually, Metal Gear Solid 4, the most recent one, I thought that was like playing a movie. It was amazing. As games develop and change and come along, I mean, especially for someone like myself or anyone who's been playing games for a long period of time, it's a fantastic thing to be able to see the range of change in the games as they've gone along. And that's why I'm trying to bring some of these older games up to my channel, and I will continue to do that because I think it's great for people to be able to see and compare where we were and where we've come to now. So yeah, I think some of the positives that have been given is that it's this whole art form. It allows people to escape the reality that they have and go into these completely other places. And I think it's only going to become more complex, more in-depth and more immersive as we go along. But just coming back also to what I said about gaming being, about people sitting in a darkened room. What's wrong with that? Seriously, it's not a bad thing. It's about losing yourself in something, okay? And after all, people go into large dark rooms and lose themselves in things every single day. They're called cinemas, and people go there as a group experience. Online gameplay is a group experience, and it's something that you do by immersing yourself in something, in a story, in a narrative, in an environment. What's its effect on society? Well, I think gaming is, like I said before, it's a media. It's part of our culture. It's been totally interwoven into, so many things that we do. People do it in every aspect now. Gaming is everywhere and it's in everything. It's not some niche, small thing. Gaming exists in the, the full mainstream of everything that we do. People that don't think gaming is a big deal are sadly mistaken. Gaming is massive and it only continues to expand. Gaming is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger all the time, and I can see that computer games will eventually surpass things like standard entertainment, because the generation that are really into games have been moving up and moving up and moving up. The whole sphere, as technology expands as well, and lines between things cross over, it's going to only become more and more and more. And after all, we as people love to dream. They love to be immersed in stories, in narratives, in all of these kind of things. I think really it's just a great thing. It's something that I've loved all my life, and maybe not everyone that I've known has understood it fully, but at the end of the day, it's something that I've given a huge amount of myself to. It's something that I don't regret. I have so many memories of things that I did in games and people that I've known and experiences all the way through. And people might say to you, but it's not real, it never happened, it's just a game, or so on and so on. But is it? I mean, how do you define what's real and what isn't real? It's real that I experienced the feelings that I played when I played those games. I have real memories of the things that I did. I worked hard to achieve the things that I achieved in the game, and to me, those are all really positive things. And also, actually, this is a kind of silly analogy, but I think it does apply, and it does show how people that don't play may not understand. For years, when I played World of Warcraft, okay, I was really hardcore into it, played it so much. You know, as many people's at the time, because I was still at uni and stuff like that, I would come back home, and my parents didn't really understand, and they were like, "Why are you playing this so much? Why, you know, you should be doing other things. It's taking too much of your time, blah, blah, blah." They kept saying this and saying this and saying this, until one day, I was having a large raid in WoW, and we were organising, setting up, doing it, etc. And my mum happened to be around, and she saw what I was doing, and she was watching for a few minutes what we were actually doing, and rather than just passing by, she actually stopped and took the time to watch and actually see what we were doing. And then she asked me what was going on, and I started explaining all the different aspects of it and what we were doing and how we had to communicate and what my role was and what their role was and all these different things. And she said to me, "That's amazing." She said, "I can see now what you get out of this." And she also said that she could understand the positive benefits of playing the game. She said, "You're learning so much from this in terms of communication, coordination, organisation, learning to do things with other people, respecting others, you know." And she even went as far to say that these are the kind of positive things that people, when they're growing up, should be involved in, because they teach you important things that you need to know, in terms of online anyway. So I think just from that you can see that that's why often people don't get the full understanding. But if they just took the time to get involved, talk to people, understand what it's about, they might see what people actually get out of it, rather than just looking at it for 5 seconds and making a snapshot judgment on it. If they actually took the time to really give a little bit of themselves to it, try and actually get involved, understand it, get inside what it is actually all about, they might understand it. And I still get it even now, in my workplace at work. You know, people, when I'm mentioning things that I've done or whatever, you get mocking jokes about it. "Oh, Dave and his games, la la," you know, you get all of that. You still get, you know, mocked and, you know, mildly humiliated for daring to be a person that plays games. And, you know, it frustrates and irritates me, because people are making judgments on you without fully understanding what it's about, and that's not something that you should ever do. You shouldn't judge people without having, you know, the reference there to back up what it is that you're judging them on. That's not something that you should do to people, and it's something that I try to carry in all things that I do, you know. And I guess that brings me nicely to the end now, in terms of, you know, what gaming has given me, what I see that gaming gives to other people, and what will, you know, the world of computer games, the culture of gaming, give for the future. I think it's going to give a lot. I think there's so much that gaming can do to help people, to educate people, to give people fun media to enjoy, to relax with, to learn, to experience emotions, all sorts of things. It is a massive sphere of experiences, and it's only going to continue to expand and build on. And for me, it's something that I'm about. It's something that I've always loved. I've always enjoyed it. I still enjoy it, and I think I'm going to enjoy it for a long, long time to come. So thanks for watching this whole video, guys. Thanks to all my subscribers so far and all the support that I've had. If you have any ideas about anything you'd like me to do, please post it up. But that's the end of this for now. Much more to come on the way. If you've made it through the whole of these 3 videos, congratulations. So this is Lutin signing off for now.